On this episode, we talk Disney pet peeves as inspired by Derek Bergen and touring plans. Today's June 4th, 2024. This is episode 673 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts. Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I am your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey, guys.
Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic. You can also find us on TikTok at MSM Podcast. And if you've not done so already, head out to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join. And if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, you get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. If you did not get the dining reservations that you wanted so badly for Disneyland or Walt Disney World, don't worry, because Mouse Dining removes the frustration of booking Disney dining reservations, alerting you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant, date, meal, and time. Visit msmfriends.com to use this free service. Then if you're getting ready to plan that next vacation to go to Disney or Universal, go on a cruise, or pretty much travel anywhere else in the world, head out to mainstmagictravel.com and fill out a form for a free quote. So today's episode is meant to be fun and lighthearted. So keep hate mail to yourself. So we did one of these way back. It's been almost 2 years. It was like episode 531. We did the top 10 worst Disney guests. And then it was kind of re-sparked because sometimes we'll come back to episodes and redo them and all. By Derek Bergen, had reshared an article from his Saturday 6 series on touring plans about Disney pet peeves. So I thought let's kind of mash those together with what Derek had to write about and kind of what we talked about last time. We'll expand on it some. We'll just kind of reshare because it has been so long. Mm-hmm. And these are going to be... we're going to talk really about Disney World, but this could be any Disney park, Universal, theme parks. I mean, some of these are just life in general, of kind of like, you know, don't be that person, we'll say, right? Mm-hmm. So are you ready to start? And then we'll put in, we have our list and we're not doing like a specific top 10 or ranking or anything. We'll just talk about them. And then we'll talk about where the Saturday 6 list fit into ours. So where Derek's stuff fit in. But first, we're going to go with the smelly people. Now, this can be that you're smelling funky or you're smelling too fancy, right?
Oh, gosh. The too fancy, like when you walk by and I feel like I just like got a mouthful of either cologne or I'm like, I can't, like, oh gosh, that's where I'm like, that's great that you smell good, but not too fancy. Too good. Where it's just too much. It
can be sometimes more overwhelming than the folks that don't use deodorant enough or shower properly. So the parks are hot, right? You're going to sweat. You're going to fill in all the available space. You're going to be right up against other people. Just, use proper hygiene.
We should probably actually start carrying some deodorant.
Here's the thing with deodorant, though. Yeah, spray deodorant. You'd have to carry because you can't use stick or gel because you're just going to melt in the heat. And then you've got a real mess. Yeah. I used to always carry deodorant in my car until I moved here. And then you go and it just melts everywhere. Yeah. So, but that's a time to, make sure you're showering regularly. Make sure you're using deodorant. And, make sure you're using some sort of, I guess, scent if you want, but not too much of it. Mm-hmm. We can't, we're both that same. We can't go into the perfume store at Epcot.
Dedicated perfume. Yeah, I can't stay in there too long. I mean, there are a lot of people with those sensitivities.
I mean, it actually could be something. People can have those allergies to, cologne and stuff like that. So, maybe if you're a 4 spritzer, maybe you cut in half. Maybe do a little 2 spritz. Do the little on the wrist. You rub them together. You give a little pat on your neck, right? Is that how you do it? Mm-hmm. Maybe give one of those instead of just bathing in it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because
like my children do.
They do sometimes. Yep.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
That's that's your I don't think I don't want to use the terminology on a family show. It's a certain person's bath is what I think of the slang for it.
Oh.
Like, you just
My mama used to call it a bird bath.
a bird bath when
So we can say.
so you're doing cologne instead of properly. You're just trying to mask any sort of scent with too much of another.
I mean,
scent.
a lot of times smokers will do that too.
Oh, sure.
So that's where it's hard, I mean.
And I'll say with all of it, again, this is just lighthearted and fun.
Yeah.
I totally get. We're in the parks plenty of times and we smell. I guarantee it.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking we need to bring some.
This will be one of
spray
those episodes. Like everybody is going to be guilty of some of these.
Oh,
You just are. We certainly are.
Yeah.
We're certainly guilty. I mean, if you go as much as you want, you can get up in the morning, right? Like I'm thinking of us going in 2 weeks. All right, you can get up in the morning. Just say you shower in the morning. Sometimes maybe you shower the night before. Either way, you're heading into a park as clean, as fresh. You've done your one spritz. You're not overpowering. You are great. Come 2 p.m., all that's out the window unless you're taking a break and going back to your resort and showering and starting all over again. Because even again, like packing deodorant, which still will help, you're just going to mask. But reapply deodorant anytime you reapply sunscreen. How about that? You think that's a fair tip?
Oh yeah, that is.
Yeah.
We need to buy some. Spray.
I know. Let's get some spray for the park bag.
Yep.
Then, especially now that we are in full.
Because I actually keep some at work too, and I do get hot and like stuff like that. So
that's smart.
Because I've actually, unfortunately, before worked with somebody that was shampooing me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh
yeah, you
need
got
to keep-
pits are all open and everything. Yeah,
So I
so
was like,
just something to think about
okay.
when you're there.
Yep.
And our next one on the list is I just put it as trashy people. But not trashy probably in the description of that person, but as those who do not properly dispose of their trash.
What do you mean? Where do they put it?
How many times have you picked something up
That's
off of
true.
the ground?
That's
and
true.
Rhonda makes a point of this. Rhonda, if we're walking down, let's just say we're walking down Main Street and she sees a piece of trash over, 15 feet to her right, she will walk over and pick it up and dispose of it. I think of this mostly at your quick service locations. These are not a leave your tray and your trash at your table and just expect a cast member to come clean it up. They will, but pick up your trash and go dispose of it.
Yeah.
And that's, people, you drop stuff all the time. Like that happens, even if it's a park map, if it's something. Disney does an amazing job of keeping their parks clean.
They do.
Universal does as well.
Yep.
But in any of those
And I know some
situations-
people don't mean to, for
Of
sure.
course. No, of course.
You've got a stroller and a kid drops something, because how many times have we definitely seen that happen?
Kids do it on purpose. That's a game to real young kids.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the parents won't notice. So, that's...
Yeah. And it'll happen on accident
Yeah.
sometimes. But it's also, there's ones like that you dropped something, but you're just moving. So you're like, oh, I'm not going to stop.
Mhm.
And then just stop and pick it up, dispose of it. There's a reason there are trash cans every, whatever it is.
like every how many feet? Like, it's
They
crazy.
said 30 feet. I think it's at least every 30 yards. So there's always a trash can that's not far away. And we've said this before. We've talked about, yes, you're going to find trash cans at Disney overflowing sometimes. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two things you can do to help. One is you could alert a cast member.
Yeah.
Instead of taking a photo of it and blasting Disney on social media, go and
That's
just tell a
sad.
cast member, like, hey, even if they're not janitorial, just say, hey, I know this isn't your job, but maybe you can call someone. That trash can's really overflowing, and then take your trash and throw it in another one. You don't need to be part of the problem and just stack it on top like our children here at home.
Oh my goodness.
Who are trying to break some sort of world record on how much trash they can stack on top of other trash. Either that or they try and push it in the trash bin so much that it's going to break.
It breaks
'Cause we
the
have a
bottom.
pull-out.
Yeah.
We have a pull-out like drawer trash can thing. And so they'll push it so hard that they'll almost snap it right off the railings. But don't be trashy, right? What's next on our list?
Annoying influencers / APs. You want to go with this? You want to lead with this one?
Sure. I mean, it's, we are videoing in parks. We're live streaming. We're taking photos. Do whatever you want to support your hobby, your business, whatever it may be, not at the expense of others.
Yeah.
And that's what I think this whole thing is, Again, I totally get people are making their living off of being in the parks. I think it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's something we would love to do one day.
Yeah.
But not at the expense of other people enjoying their trip or their vacation.
100%. Absolutely. It is funny though when you do see, like, what was it? The girl in Epcot that literally took and just
It was a full tripod.
Like 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
She stood up on this sidewalk area and started twirling.
Doing
I mean,
dances and TikTok dances. And,
something.
yeah.
But it was funny. And I mean, that
But
wasn't
but even
so
in her
bad.
thing, it wasn't really bothersome. You know, I'm
But it was
thinking of
funny,
the ones.
like-
I'm thinking of the ones that are super loud and obvious. The look at me's. You know, it's like,
yeah.
hey, I have some sort of, you know, important social media channel that I want everyone to know about. So I'm just going to be super loud. You know,
yeah,
or
that's true.
whatever it may be. I'm also thinking of the ones like that will just shove the cameras in like other people's faces or cast members. You know, that can be, you know,
Oh,
it's
sad.
it's one thing to respectfully ask, like right now, for example, okay, there's you know, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, the walls are down, the signs are up, the cast
Right.
member, you know, previews are starting. We've got annual pass holders starting soon, so they have premiered all of the new costumes, right?
Oh, yeah.
For that. And Main Street in general has gotten all new costumes. And it's one thing, and again, we don't do that. Like, we're not the daily reporters. If you want that, go look at like the Main Street Mouse with Scott and Michelle, or Greg and Holly doing the Fanatics blog. They do a great job of daily, here's what's happening.
Right.
Here's the new. But they also have the respect to like walk up to a cast member and say, do you mind if I take your photo? Here's what we do.
Yeah,
and then
that's
take the
nice.
photo and all of
Yeah.
that, as opposed to just walking up, hey, look at the new costume, and you're live streaming and doing all that. So it's just one of those.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes with annual pass holders, which again, we are as well.
Mm-hmm.
But we do our best, and I'm not saying we haven't been guilty of probably being annoying before on accident, but we do our best to not be those, you know, APs that are like, well, I know everything about this. Oh, I know where this is, and I know where that is, and I don't need to do this because I'm an AP. I can, you know, like that type of thing. You're
Right.
You know, if you're an influencer, if you're an annual pass holder, you're not more important than anybody else's trip.
Yeah.
I guess
That's
that was
true.
the short way of putting it, right?
Yeah.
So,
100%.
yeah. All right. What do we have next? My favorite, and this is a us peeve, really, but I know other people too. Like,
And this just really kind of makes me laugh, but it's the shirts. The shirts that are like the most expensive day ever. You know, scan for payment. My favorite villain is my wife. I actually kind of like that because I'm kind of like getting to the point where I'm like, I totally would
but it's different.
agree
if-
with that.
yeah,
Like,
but
I could
think
totally
it's different if you're wearing a
take
shirt
that.
that's like, I'm my favorite villain.
Mm,
And all of these I understand are tongue in cheek. Again, like it's just
yeah.
I'm not fans of them, you know. Yeah, the other one, I'm just here to pay for everything, those shirts. And as clever as they can be, like Bippity Boppity Broke is funny.
Yeah.
It is funny.
Yeah.
One I do think is completely inappropriate is and I'm not going to say it again, it's a family show. They're inappropriate using the letter D. There's no
Yeah.
need for that in a theme park.
I
in
know. That's a
general.
little like
that one's just fully inappropriate.
yeah.
But I always look at the ones like the most expensive day ever. The scan for payment is clever. It's funny. It's got a QR code on it or
Yeah.
a barcode. It is funny, I
Yeah.
think. You know, and I do get it. I view those personally as, what are you telling your family and everybody else around? Now, we don't know you.
right.
We don't know you. If you're wearing most expensive day ever, it doesn't mean that you're just a, dad who doesn't want to be there and is stuck paying for everything.
Right.
It doesn't mean that.
But maybe
that's what it conveys.
It does, but maybe it does.
It might mean it,
and he would rather be his most expensive day ever. He would rather it be at a football game
Yeah.
or something. Where then he doesn't feel like it is, but he doesn't want to be there. So maybe that's why they
Yeah.
feel like it's the most expensive day ever. Because I tell you what, when you don't want to spend money, but you have to,
Mhm.
I will agree when I'm like, oh God, I'm spending so much money, and I'm kind of like, golly, this is the most expensive like weekend ever.
Yeah. But you're not going to
I'm
broadcast
still making my kids happy or something like that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, some people like that's where it is hard the way the world has gone, where, you know, it's so funny. Clients have said this to me before, like, what happened to everybody? Why is everybody so mean now? Why is everybody not nice? And, you know, with speaking of shirts, you know, that's why we did the Be Nice to Cast Member shirts. Yeah. But I know that we have been mistaken in saying stuff about money where then our kids think, and we just need to say it in a different way. So I think people just say things in a different way now.
Yeah.
Because my kids, you know, if we're like, we don't have any money, they'll be like, but you have money for this. And like, well, so it's almost like you need to say, I don't want to spend the money on that because I want to spend the money on this.
Right.
But if you just like, I don't have money, then, you know, so I mean, I kind of get it, but.
Oh, I'm not saying I don't get it. I just think it paints a picture to your family and those around you. And it's another one of those where. I mean,
it does.
I've always likened it like that also, I think, says a message to the other folks that want to be there. You know, that almost paints a picture to the, you know, and you always see the dads. I mean, it's the dads usually that are wearing this. Yeah. They just are, you know, and as a dad who loves to go to Disney and loves to spend money at Disney, you know, I do think that dads in general, and I'm not trying to lump all that together, but it's the same thing we've talked about, you know, what are the shirts? What are the Disney character shirts that are made specifically for dads? Grumpy, right?
Yeah.
So there's this stigma of dads don't want to be at Disney. They don't want to be there. They'd rather be doing something else. They're just there to make all the money and pay for stuff. If anybody had to wear a most expensive day ever shirt for our family, it'd be Rhonda, because we wouldn't be doing Disney without you. But I think it paints a picture to other people as well, where I'm a dad that loves Disney. I can look at those shirts and be like, well, I enjoy this.
Right.
So in my mind, you're saying that I shouldn't be. You know what I mean? It's that type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, if I was just sitting around with, again, just in general, and somebody just spoke up and was like, oh man, I hate Disney World. It's so stupid. Anybody that wants to go there is an idiot. They're not saying that directly to me.
Right.
But I'm going to feel that like, okay, so you think I'm an idiot and you think I'm weird for going to Disney. You know what I mean?
But
it's
then you could be the same way where you could be like,
100% could.
A Sunday football game is stupid. Why would anybody want to do that? And go because... And
I think that's a lot of money to spend, but I'm not going to go to a football game and wear a shirt that says most expensive day ever.
Right.
You know, so here's the thing.
But that's what I'm saying.
Just say my buddy invites me to a football game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I enjoy sitting at home and watching football with other people, but I'm not a big football fan.
Right.
I don't want to go to a football game. It's long, it's expensive. My buddy loves it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with him and I'm going to support that person. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to wear a Jag shirt or whatever. I'm going to go. I'm going to get a pretzel and I'm going to enjoy it. I'm not going to wear a shirt that says most expensive day ever to that.
But also if you're saying it out loud, like that's not directed at, you know, just like what you just said, that you shouldn't take it.
You made me say it. You just put me in that situation. No, I'm not going to purposely just go like on a Sunday during football season. I'm not going to go out and tweet, football stupid. Why would you waste money going to a game?
There's a lot of people that do
I could
that.
think it, and I don't, because that's what those people love. I totally get why people love doing that. It's not for me to spend my money on. It's the same you were just saying. I have the money to go to a football game. Yeah. I would rather spend it on something else.
Correct.
I'm not going to knock the people that do want to go. I think it's awesome, and I totally get it. You know, so
I just love playing devil's advocate.
I know you do. You just try and make up these scenarios to get me in trouble.
Nuh-uh. I just do. I'm like that angel devil side. Yeah. Like I play.
No, dude, 100% too. All right. So next we are going to move on to one of ours and one from the Touring Plans article. They're number 2 on their list, which is flash photography on a dark ride.
Yes. I mean, that's like when you go to a show and they ask for just make sure before you like. Usually there's a lot of pre-shows on dark rides and there's a lot of things that you can make sure that right before you go to take a picture, just check your flash.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people they just pull it up real quick and try not to like miss a picture, which I understand that. But prior to that, you can check it and turn it off, because that is like annoying, and that does.
Well, and there's two parts of that. One, again, this interrupts other guests' viewing experience, right? Mm-hmm. Number two, it takes crappy photos for you.
Mm-hmm.
Using a flash on Haunted Mansion is not going to give you the photo you want.
Nope.
You're better off knowing how to use a camera phone or a regular camera, like a DSLR camera, knowing how to take photos in the dark or low light to get the photos you want. A flash is just going to not only ruin your photo, but ruin everybody else's experience. Is basically what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And in the end, it's one of those, again, outside of being somebody I think that sometimes is trying to get content, just make sure you're taking the right photos and the good photos. If you want to go home and show your family or friends your trip, and you want to be like, there's this new thing called the Hatbox Ghost in Haunted Mansion that Disney World finally got. Let me show you this cool photo of it. Then make sure it's a good one. You know?
Yeah.
So that's all. And
or
if
just
you
go
use
on the internet.
yeah, right. Or seriously, you can find them all over.
Yeah.
So yeah, just double check that flash. And I'll go back to the last year at Christmas time. It was actually Thanksgiving, but the Hula Day, the Grinch at Universal. And I felt bad for that lady who wanted to take some videos, but every time she went to press record, her flash automatically turned on. And then she would freak out, feel bad. She'd turn it off. She'd look at her camera and her phone and be like, okay. She'd go to do it again, and the flash kept coming on. And I know she was not doing it on purpose, but, and those ones with live actors, it's a detriment to them. It can mess them up. It can blind them for a second. They can miss a mark. It can whatever. It can interrupt their thing. When you're on a ride, though, it can definitely just interrupt the other people.
Yeah.
And so many of these, and we'll get to a whole section here soon, is just have your vacation the way you want to, without it interrupting other folks that are trying to have their same vacation. You know what I mean?
It's like Rob said when we were in a hotel, there's other people here. And that's the biggest thing, I think with all of this is just follow the golden rule, do unto others as you would do unto them. And that's exactly what I've always thought and put myself in, and thought, well, what about this person, or, what about that? Or, if I stand somewhere, can people see behind me? Just
do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah.
You missed part of that. I think you said do unto others as you would do unto them. So that would just be, you just do whatever you want.
Right. Well, you know what I mean. Everybody knows the golden rule.
Let's move on to the next one that
we just talked about last episode.
Oh, 100%.
The line jumpers.
With our salt and straw. Yeah, the line jumpers. The
line jumpers or the line savers. But now, listen, man, with DAS.
Yeah, there are going to be
different.
Yeah.
I've talked with some people.
Yeah.
It's been on our Facebook community.
Yep.
Disney has changed DAS, and it's hard.
It is. Yeah, there's several different ways that DAS operates now, and that includes if you cannot get approved for DAS. You cannot get approved for DAS. There are some return to line features. There's some other things. So there are going to now be, I guess I'd call them sanctioned line savers.
Yes.
Right. As a part of the DAS program is that, somebody will be allowed to save a spot in line for somebody who cannot, physically or mentally spend that time in line, but we're not approved for the DAS system. That they will be able to return to a line. You will have someone saving it. Right. Under those circumstances now, perfectly fine. What it's not is, let's just say our family of four goes, we take the girls, and I run ahead. I get in a line while you three just mill about and go shopping and grab something to eat. I stand in a line for 30, 45 minutes. I'm near the front. And then you guys come in saying, hey, my husband's up front. Let me get through. Let me get through. That's not acceptable.
No. Nope.
And just jumping line in general, like the salt and straw ladies who literally just
jumped in front of us.
Right under the little divider right in front of us.
So
but and we talked about this too. Like I think you should enter the queue with your party.
Yes.
If you get in a queue and you're halfway through and someone needs to go to the bathroom, it is totally understandable that a person is going to step out or a parent is going to step out with a child. You can make those aware around you or a cast member, you know, and this would be almost a return to queue feature, and they're going to help you out with that.
Yep.
But if you're on your way to a ride and you say, me and Lacey are going to go to the bathroom, you two go ahead, we'll catch up in line. I personally don't think that's right. I think we all go, we wait out, you two go to the bathroom, you rejoin us, and then all four of us enter the queue to get in.
I'll say I don't mind if it's one or two people. I think what I have a problem with is when it's like 3, 4, 5. Because I kind of will like understand that. Like if it's a long wait, I mean, yeah, if you have 2 people that are going, and Lacey's now technically old enough that she could go by herself and then she would just be one person.
Sure, but chances are more than one person's got to use the bathroom.
She would be like, I don't want to go through all those people. Will you wait? And then
no, we won't. So we'll wait with you and we'll all enter the queue together.
Okay.
Is what I think. I don't think personally, I don't think there's any other if, and, or buts about that. If just you have to go to the bathroom, then we're going to stop, let you go to the bathroom. It's what, 2-3 minutes off our time. If the queue is 45 minutes and we stop for 2 minutes so you can go to the bathroom,
okay,
it's not going to be 3 hours long when we get up to it, right? Okay. Just because of a couple minute delay. That's what I think. I personally, if it was me and you said, I have to go to the bathroom, I'm not going and getting in line.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Like, I'm just not. Even if I get to line and there are only 4 people fill in behind me, there's no need for you to then walk in and say, oh yeah, I was going to the bathroom. My husband's right there. Okay, well, good for you. Your husband could have waited, is my thought. I just don't think that there's any.
Wow.
Now, again, we get in line. You and I enter the line. We're 15, 20 minutes in, and you're like, oh, I really should have gone to the bathroom before this. And you need to step out. We have entered the line. We have made ourselves, people around us, aware that this is our party. But yeah, I mean, there's straight up times where you have one person saving the line and 5 people joining.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't think that's acceptable under any circumstance.
Right.
You know, like that's really, maybe you should say that, I don't know. You know, I mean, think about it. When you go to a lot of restaurants and you call ahead or you put in a reservation or whatever, and you show up, they say, is everybody in your party
Yeah, that's
here?
true. That's true.
It should be the same when you're entering a queue. Is everybody in your party here? No, we've got 2 people going to the bathroom. Okay. Then you can wait here until your entire party has arrived, and then you can enter the queue. So restaurant etiquette there, right?
Yeah.
Does that like make it make more sense?
Yeah.
Because same thing, think about it. All right. You show up to a restaurant and they say, is everybody in your party here? Yeah, they sure are, but 2 of them are going to go to the bathroom right this minute. Okay. Well, when those 2 get back, I'll seat you. That's fair.
Right.
But what you're going to do instead is, everybody in your party here? They sure are. All right, let me seat you. Everybody sits down. They give you your menus, take your drink order, then you get up and go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I just think it's kind of like that same type of thing. And then we're going to save you your seat for
Yeah.
when you come back. Right? So, all right, let's go on next. And these are the people that refuse to move. So, fill in all the available space, and you've got 4 feet in front of you, and you just don't move. Right?
Yeah. Do you move around them?
Yo, 100%. I think you move around those folks.
I mean, if
But
you're
they
not
should
going to move.
Nobody wants to fill. Look, nobody wants to fill in all the available space.
Nope.
Not a single
Nope.
person, most likely.
Nope.
Maybe somebody who does, but probably for all the wrong reasons. So, you know, nobody is like, oh man, there's 3 feet in front of me. I really hope they ask me to move up and touch this person. Like, that's not common, right? But
I mean, and my
do it.
favorite is like, if there's, how do they say it? If there's, you can see ground in front of you to move forward. There's sometimes where I can see ground in front of me, but the person has a backpack on, and literally if I move up,
oh sure,
like I'm touching, and I'm like, no,
yeah,
I ain't moving.
Nobody's asking you to spoon them,
right?
You know, I mean, it's just, and yeah, again, this is one where we might have 4 feet in front of us, and we move 2 feet, you know, but we're moving. The other one is, And again, I get it a lot of times, because you don't want to always be on top of people. You don't want to sit right next to someone. You don't want to stand right next to someone you don't know, especially if they're one of the smelly folks, right? That we talked about first. So, but
Good
when
or
you
bad.
go in, all right, you go into Frozen Sing-Along. Okay.
Yeah.
And you are supposed to walk all the way to the first available seat and sit down.
Yeah.
Totally understand. You might not do that. You get in there, you're like, there's a lot of empty seats. I'm going to sit where I want to sit. That's fine.
Mhm.
Some people may come in, they may fill in around you, they may pass you, whatever. But when that cast member says, please stand up and move to the center of the theater and fill in all the available seats, and tons of people just flat out sit there and don't move at all.
Yeah.
Just get up and move. You're probably going to have to sit next to someone. And guess what? If you don't get up and move, you're going to end up sitting with people on either side of you anyway.
Mhm.
Right? So you might as well just get up, help the flow of traffic, help so people don't have to awkwardly pass you. Because a lot of those same people who aren't going to get up and move are just going to sit there like they own the place when somebody tries to pass them, you know what I mean? And walk between their knees and their... When you pass somebody, which side do you give them? This is the age-old fight club getting up on the airplane to go to the bathroom. When you have to pass someone who is seated in a seat, which side are you giving them when you pass them? Front or back?
Oh. I mean, I guess back.
That's what I think. I think I tend to go back.
It'd be weird in the front.
I feel like the front would be very, because then you're possibly making eye contact as well while they're staring at you.
Just
which
don't
if
fart.
they're just either I wouldn't okay. All right. You made it sound like that would be somebody's calculated effort, though. Like
Maybe
people
it
purposely
is.
doing that, just crop dusting right through the seats. I mean, to be fair, I guess you could be like, you don't want to get up. That nice cast member asked you to get up. Be nice to cast members. I'm going to fart in your face now. I would never do that. But if you do that, you better be walking some. Like, it'd be real awkward if you do that and then you realize the only seat available is the one directly next to them, and then you got to sit in your own stuff.
Uh-huh.
But all right, let's move on to the next one. This was number 5 on the touring plans list, and that is the eBay pirates.
Oh, like the people that buy stuff.
Yeah. We're about to see it. Tiana's Bayou Adventure is opening. We're going to see them. They're going to be out full force.
That's super sad. Well, yeah, I mean, we've seen it with a lady with a stroller, and she doesn't have a child, and she's buying all the merchandise in all kinds of sizes and whatever's. Yeah, have you seen it? I'm sure they got a new Stitch purse out. Dooney and Burke.
I have not. I've not seen any.
It's beautiful
of it lately.
That's nice.
Disney's done a lot to shut this down. You know, they went through a whole thing the same way they were shutting down the tour guides, that were doing it basically illegally. They were shutting down a lot of these eBay pirates, and they were, because they're all pass holders, right?
Yes.
So there is a trackable way to do it. And, Disney tries by saying, well, we're going to limit 2 items per person.
Yeah.
Well, it's 2 items per SKU. So sizes for the same shirt all have a different SKU, right? Small, medium, large, going all the way up. They're different. That's how they're tracking it. So you could go in and buy the same shirt, 2 small, 2 medium, large, buy out every size of the shirt, 2 of each.
Mm-hmm.
You can then just walk to another register and do the same thing again, right? So they were starting to crack down. They revoked a lot of APs. I haven't seen as much of it as I used to, but, and it's very different. There's plenty of times that we are in the parks and somebody says, hey, they have so-and-so, will you pick one up for me?
Right.
And we do, and so maybe we're walking out of there with 2 of an item.
Right.
One is for us.
Right.
One is for that friend who's going to send us the money. I mean, it's very much like them being there. We don't walk in and go, hey, you know what? I got a lot of friends that might like this stuff. I'm just going to buy a bunch of it and then hope they want it or resell it on eBay. And I know there's a lot of personal shoppers. There are people that run businesses. Those aren't those people, though.
Right.
To me, a personal shopper is, I live in Denver. I love Stitch. I really want this purse.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to pay the resale prices on eBay. So I am going to find a personal shopper who specifically goes into that park with a list of items that I've paid for and I am paying for their service. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I understand that one.
Right.
You have a buyer already when you walk into that park as a personal shopper. But when you walk into that park and buy up every possible thing you can just to flip it on eBay, especially, and again, that's the thing, we go into the parks and sometimes there's something we want specifically and we haven't gotten it in the past, or we have to fight crowds of these people. We went to buy a simple lounge fly. I remember one time at World of Disney, and if there were a dozen people in front of us in line, 10 of them each had 2 of the same bag in their hands. You're telling me all 10 of those folks are getting one for themselves and one for a friend? No, especially when you already see them with armfuls of bags. Mm-hmm. So it's just, again, that's one of those, and not, again, like I said, not everybody can make it there to the parks to get the thing they truly want. They know it's popular. It's going to sell out. They use the personal shopper, or they hit up, it's happened in our Facebook group. People will say, hey, I just left Disney and they just came out with this thing. Any chance somebody's there that I can gladly pay and pay shipping and, and people will help people out. So, All right, let's move on. We'll save our biggest one for last. Let's move on to the next one. And this can go along with those most expensive day ever shirts, I think, right? Who are
or
these
you
folks?
Spend a lot of money, so you better have fun. Or I've spent a lot of money, so you didn't get this. You need to be happy, like all that. Like I've spent, my biggest one is I've spent a lot of money. I deserve this.
Right.
And it's like, no, we've all spent a lot of money.
Right.
Like,
everybody spent money.
I understand that there are now, unfortunately, where, there's tiers of value, moderate, and deluxe. And let's say you're staying at the top tier deluxe, and I'm talking about the most expensive one. Yeah, you did spend more money than a value resort, but you're
getting the benefits of that within your resort, right?
Right, so but you're still spending like if you're going to drive on, like if I'm driving and we're staying at a value and another person's driving and then just cuts me off because, I got to get here first.
Yeah.
And they're driving from a deluxe. Yes, they technically spent more money, but come on, like.
But that's what I'm saying is when you spend deluxe money, you get deluxe benefits already. Yeah. You don't need to take those into thinking you're better than everybody else or get more. And that goes, again, that goes for any level of any of it. It's just everybody spent money to be there.
Right.
And this one too goes a lot. It's not so much because we're going to talk about the entitled, which would rope into that portion. But a lot of this too is the way that you are spending that time with your family. Mm-hmm. It's the...
I've seen plenty of people passing where like kind of yelling at their kid, kind of like, we spent a whole bunch of money and now you're just doing that. And I'm like, oh my God, that's sad.
Yeah. I mean, we spent $45 on chicken tenders and fries at Wilderness Lodge at Whispering Canyon on Christmas Day for Lacey, right? That's what they had to charge. They charged the per person fee, even though she wasn't going to eat the meal. Got her very awesome. Got her, chicken tenders and fries. She didn't eat a ton of those, but that's not where we're going to put the focus. It's not, hey, I spent $45 on those chicken tenders, so you better eat them.
Right.
And yes, there are instances where you do need to teach your children, hey, we spent money on something. We don't want it to go to waste.
Right.
We need you to understand the value of this. We need, we were just having that whole conversation. Was it yesterday? I think when we were out is the, when growing up, we grew up very much in a generation of, this is your dinner.
Yes.
You eat it or
if
you
don't, then you get it for lunch the next day, breakfast, or you have to sit there until it's gone. So then you don't get to play. You have
no other options.
No. And then it's funny because like the way things have happened where it's now like, okay, I'm a mom and I'm going to make us a dinner. Where in our family it'd be dad making the dinner, but then let's make 5 other things for the children.
Yeah.
So everybody is happy.
And I'm not saying that's wrong either.
Right.
I personally, this is going off on such a different level, but I personally don't see a need. Like we were just talking about what we're going to do for dinner tonight, right? I want to make enchiladas. So we're going to make chicken enchiladas the way that Rhonda and I like them, which will have onions and peppers and all in it. The kids probably won't eat that. I'm not going to force them to eat that because I know they don't like it. I'm not making it because I know they don't like it. We'll give them an alternative, or I'll say, hey, do you want me to make you a couple without peppers and onions?
Right.
Like, I personally don't see a need to sit your child down and be like, eat liver and onions. This is what I'm serving. Like, if you know your kid doesn't like it, don't get them. Now, if they order $45 worth of chicken tenders and fries, because that's what they wanted, and that was the alternative at Whispering Canyon, then so be it. But this is more in that sense of the woman forcing her child on Rock and Roller Coaster in front of me that time. Who's thinking like, I spent all this money to be here and you're not going to even ride this ride? No, your kid's scared. They don't want to ride a dark ride upside down. You don't force them to. You don't use money as a way to get what you want out of your children on this vacation to, live out your dreams and fantasies or something. Like, you need, if there's rider swap, there's other ways to do it.
I know we talked about this before, but to finish that story, just so some people are like, what are you talking about? Literally, the woman was telling the cast member just to shut
put the restraint down
on the child. And the cast member was like, I cannot do that. Like,
this kid is screaming at the top of their lungs, trying to get out while she's forcing the kid, holding him back into the ride, where finally the cast member was like, you have to get off the ride. Like, you have to take this child off the ride. And then she's berating the kid as they leave, and
it was awful.
I'm sure in the back of her mind, she's thinking, this cost a lot of money. You better enjoy it. So it's just, and again, I don't know that individual story, but.
Right. And I mean, it might be just like Lacey, where when unfortunately we were going to ride Jurassic Park.
Yeah, River Adventure.
And she was like, I'm like, it's just like a drop. And she already rode Splash Mountain. So we're like, it's just like that. And apparently it's more of a drop. So. And
the team member verbally put that out there.
Yep.
And we weren't trying to trick her.
We weren't.
We're saying,
she just,
look, you've done Splash Mountain. This is similar. You can handle this one.
Right.
But then numbers started playing in her head because she's a type. Well, how big is the Splash Mountain drop? Okay, what's this much? How much is this one? Well, it's close to the same. And then the cast member said it out loud. She's like, nope, and she freaked out. So I walked out with her.
Literally up to literally getting on.
Yeah. Oh, we were about to step on now.
And she's like, I can't, and started crying. And Jeremy just was like, all right, whatever, and took her. And then while we were on the ride, I'm pretty sure she was like already then mad at herself.
She was mad at herself.
Upset. She was like, and then what was it? Maybe the next time.
I think she wrote it.
She wrote it, and she was fine. And she was like, so,
and it's understandable in that moment. I could have reacted in a very different way.
You could have.
And there's times that I have. Again, we're guilty of many of these. There's plenty of times where, I could have.
Not like that, though.
Well, not to this lady's extent. But I could have easily been like, no, Lacey, you're getting on. We just waited 40 minutes. And it's fine. You'll be fine. And I could have done that. And that would be an understandable reaction to a point.
Yeah.
But again, we do try to live and breathe the things that we talk about. Yeah. And we'll tell you when we don't. But
that's like
a moment
Kaylin,
where I tried to live and breathe that and say, you know what? This is not the end of the world.
Yep.
I do not want to traumatize my child. I can ride this again. I've ridden it before. I'm going to walk her off of this. I'm going to let everybody else stay and enjoy it. And then, I sat with her while she was she was mad at herself that she didn't get on. I'm like, don't worry, we can do it again another time when you're more ready, and Lacey is sweet in the sense where she's saying, I'm sorry you didn't get to ride it, and I'm like, it's fine, I'm good.
Well, that's like Kaylin and Everest, riding Everest, and she rode with me, and then she was like, okay, it was great, I'm gonna ride it again, and that's Dad's favorite. And so she was going to, and again, they got right up to the thing, and she just started crying, and Jeremy walked out with her. Now, he did it so much better. I was frustrated for him because it's his favorite ride and he wanted to ride with his daughter. And I was mad and frustrated because she just rode it. It wasn't like I wasn't sure what it was. I just rode it. So that's where I may have probably been a little not good.
Think about if I tried to take you on Tower of Terror twice in a row. I could see taking you on Tower of Terror, which you enjoy, right? We get off and I go, you want to do it again? And you go, yeah, because you still have the excitement and the rush.
Right.
We wait, we get up to it, and then your brain goes, I don't want to do this again. I just did it, and I do enjoy it, but I'm not doing this twice in a row. Like, so I think it's kind of that comparison, but...
And I feel bad because I wasn't to the lady's extent, but I still made Kaylin feel bad.
Yeah.
And where you even had to go, Rhonda, stop.
Yeah.
And I realized later, that I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
So...
But everybody reacts in those certain ways. It's just an
100%.
overarching thing of, take a step back and think about it, because here's the thing.
Yep.
When you get home from your trip, chances are you're not going to remember if you said to your kid, do you want to ride Rock and Roller Coaster? And they go, no, I'm a little too scared. Okay, let's go do something else, right? You're not going to remember that. You're going to remember trying to force your kid and berating them and bringing them to tears, trying to force them on the ride, whether they go through with it or they back out, whatever. You're going to remember that moment, and it's going to be a negative one.
Yep.
You're not going to have that's the one that's going to outlive some of your other memories. So just those
Just
types
like
of things
Kaylin with the magic band and losing it and Soren.
Oh, yeah.
And I made her go to a cast member.
Now, to be fair, you
was
asked
trying to
Kaylin.
teach.
You asked Kaylin. And again, there are a lot of teachable moments in these.
Yes.
It's the same thing with the food. Trust me, I get the food. When we're talking about I spent so much money, you better eat it. I get it.
Oh,
especially
100%.
when you now we put Lacey in a situation. We put her in a situation at Whispering Canyon that said, this is per person. We know that we're going to spend the money whether she eats or not.
Right.
We understood that. But I get the frustration. You sit down somewhere and your kid goes, I want chicken tenders and I want fries and I want dessert and I want this. And you order it all. They take one bite and they're like, yeah, I don't want any more.
Yeah.
I get you're going to get frustrated. That's, that's definitely going to happen. So just, again, those things, just take a step back, think about how it's going to impact your overall vacation, your memories, your trip. And then this does go into those kind of entitled folks. And this is all that same line. I spent a lot of money. I'm entitled to this. I'm entitled to a good time.
Mm-hmm.
This ride broke down. Unacceptable. I'm going to raise hell until I get what I want.
Right.
And again, it's understandable that you have one day at Hollywood Studios.
Mm-hmm.
You purchased an individual lightning lane or you waited a long time to get on Rise. It breaks down and it doesn't come back up. I'm not saying you should just go, oh, well, that's life. Let's move on. No, go to guest services and just nicely, politely say.
Politely. The key words.
Here's what happened.
Right.
We're really looking forward to ride the ride. We don't have any other days at Hollywood Studios.
Mm-hmm.
We waited an hour. You gave us this recovery kind of fast pass, but it doesn't really do us any good. We just want to let you know, and whatever happens, right? But you're not entitled to ride Rise of Resistance just because you spent money. Now, if you spend an individual lightning lane, yeah, you're kind of entitled to ride it, but they're going to make it up. They're going to refund it. They're going to do whatever they can to help you out. So and that goes back to the annual pass holders too. We're not more entitled to anything by being pass holders and going all the time than anyone who is not a pass holder and goes once a year. We're not entitled to anything more than they are. And they're not entitled to anything more than we are. Right? Do you disagree with me? What are we more entitled to?
I mean, we could go every single day because we're annual pass
But that's not an entitlement. That's something that we purchased and paid for. I'm saying we're not any more entitled to say, to be closer to something in a show or a parade or to get anything more because we're simply pass holders and go a lot. We have the opportunity to enjoy the vacation the same way the family does. It goes once a year.
Sometimes we do when we get the magnets.
But that's included. That's
right. But if
I wouldn't expect someone, it's not entitlement for us to go get the Stitch magnet. It's entitlement for someone to go, hey, I'm not an AP, but I dropped $8,000 on this trip. And so I want that Stitch magnet.
Right.
I paid a lot of money to be here. It's not right that I don't get that thing. You know what I mean? That's on a different level. That comes with our payment of paying to be annual passes are things like the magnets or any perks that come along.
Okay.
With it. So, it's, now it is a little bit more for us to sit back and go, I'm an annual pass holder. I want this. Okay. Well, you might not get it. I'm an annual pass holder. They're doing 20% off places right now. I want that all the time. that's a different
Okay.
thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
That's kind of different.
I get
think.
it.
So just those types of things. And of course, with that entitlement, when you are there, when you are anywhere, the people working there are doing their job.
Yes.
You know, they're there to make, cast members are there to make your vacation magical.
But
Right.
don't expect it either,
Right.
because a lot of times people are like, I want, pixie dust.
Yeah, how do I get
And
pixie dust?
I'm like,
You
no,
don't.
like, and they're just messengers too.
Yeah.
Like, the story, don't shoot the messenger. Don't,
Yeah.
like, and then we wouldn't be allowed at Disney World or anywhere else in the Disney World area without the cast members.
Yeah. Or
So
anywhere. We're not allowed in Publix if there aren't people working there.
that's true.
So again,
But
just
still, with
be
Disney,
nice.
yeah.
Treat them with respect. They are not your
Yes.
servants. They are, and it's one of those
yeah.
things, think about it. The way that they present themselves is you'll have cast members that will come up. Hello, friends.
Mhm.
Think of it that way. They are working 100%. They are working, but treat them with the same respect you would treat your friend
Right.
in any other scenario,
Correct.
So you spend a lot of money. Get the most out of it that you can without hindering other people's vacation or being rude to cast members, pretty
Right.
much. And then that leads us into the last big one. And this has a bunch of little like bullets under it is, and this goes under some of these. This is the flash photographers. This is the people that are entitled. This is the people, that are doing all kinds of stuff, is the people that think they're the only ones there. You know what I mean? It's the ones who, an honorable mention from the Touring Plans article was using a tablet to take photos and video at the parks.
I've
this goes-
literally seen that.
Yeah, and it goes for anything. And then we'll talk about our Dreams That Soar situation kind of again, because that sparked a little bit of revamping this episode, is that, I understand you want to film the fireworks or the parade, and for whatever reason, maybe you have a social media, maybe you have a podcast, maybe you want to film it just to go home and show your friends and family, here's the fireworks, here's the parade and all.
Right.
That's great. Do it. As long as it doesn't hinder the view of other people around you.
Right.
And when you hold your tablet or a phone above your head in the air, you're blocking somebody else's view.
Yes.
Or when you stand on a retaining wall, making yourself 7 or 8 feet tall,
Jeez.
that tells me that you think you're the only person there.
Yep. And you
Because
don't care about people
You
behind
don't care about the people behind you.
She looked at the people behind her.
Yeah.
And again, if this is your first episode, if you didn't listen to last episode, we were watching Dreams That Soar, and there was a little sitting retaining wall that people can sit on, and she stood a taller, I don't think she was my height. I think she was taller than that. Stood on the wall, an adult. That's what
Mhm.
I'm trying to say. And was taller than my 6'3" husband. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But the kids stood, and they were my height, which was perfect. I'll never forget, because, I don't think I realized it being shorter. And then it's funny because I don't think taller people realize it until they, like Rob one time got down to my level, and he goes, "Oh my God, this is what you see?" And I'm like, yeah. So I did it to my children one time, and I was like, "Oh my God, you really can't see." So, like there's times when you do things and like put
Kids
them
on
at your
shoulders.
eye level.
Right. Kids
But
on shoulders.
That's too much.
There's no
Put them.
there's no reason to put your kid on your shoulder.
No.
There are plenty of other options, as long as you are safe, there's a possibility of them standing on, just say, your stroller or something.
Yep.
And you're holding on to them. Because I understand not everyone, is 6'3", 200 pounds and can pick a child up on their hip,
Right.
which I can,
Correct.
but that's what we always did, is for the girls to watch. We've never put them on our shoulders for those instances.
I put them on my back.
Yep.
So then we were like eye level
Yeah.
again. So yeah.
Yeah. So again, just think of those other folks that are around you. The reserving lounge chairs was number 6 on their list, right? So it's understandable. Like, you go down to the pool in the morning, just say me and Rhonda do, just say the kids or somebody else we're staying with is back in the room. They're coming down in 15, 20 minutes. We put 2 towels on their spots. They're
Yep.
down there. We're all out there, right?
Right.
It's another thing for us to walk down, put 4 towels on some chairs, go back to our room and be like, yeah, we're going to go down at like noon, but we want to make sure we have a good spot. It's somewhere like the
Yes.
Poly or Yacht and Beach. They
Yeah.
get crazy busy.
Yep.
You don't want to be reserving, or hey, we're going to go down. Our friends are going to the parks. We're going to hang out here for a while. They won't be here for 3-4 hours. Let's go ahead and save them some spaces.
Right.
When clearly there's other people looking for chairs.
Yep. That was like when we were at the Poly with Amy and Chuck. They were literally in their room changing into their bathing suits. We got down there sooner. And a lady was like, are these taken? I was like, yeah, they're just went to, and I said went to the bathroom because, hey, maybe Chuck and Amy did go to the bathroom in their room. But then I think
they were down there soon
2 minutes later, like literally.
Yeah, but we weren't holding them for hours or going down and going, hey, the Poly's going to be busy. We want to come down around 1.
Correct.
I'm going to sneak down there when they open at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. And reserve chairs.
Yep.
Number 4 on their list, smoking in inappropriate places. There are designated smoking areas. I know it is hard for a lot of folks that they banned all smoking within the parks. You have to exit the park to designated smoking areas. I get it. That stinks for smokers, but there are reasons for that. Just follow them. Just go to the designated smoking areas. There are so many times we have seen, especially at resorts, and people are just smoking wherever they want. So just stay with those designated areas. Number 3 on their list, and I get that this just happens. You don't always think about it. When you are walking in a congested area and you need to stop for a reason, to look at your phone, to look at a map, to discuss plans,
your kid did something. Yeah.
Move out the way.
Please, please. I've been known to do it too. And then I'm like, I realize, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I'll completely, but I mean, most of the time I try to, let me pull like literally almost like a car. Let me pull over here and stop and look and whatever.
Yeah. Or you've got, the walkway and they're rolling 4 wide with strollers so nobody can even get past them, or, just again, be aware of your surroundings. So much of that. Number 1 on their list is not giving up a seat on the monorail or bus. I really try and do this.
Yeah, you do. All the time.
Now, I'm not going to give it to everybody. I mean, if another 44-year-old guy gets on, I'm still sitting down if he's got to stand. But if it's at the end of the night and he's holding a kid, I'm probably going to be like, hey, man, do you want my seat so the kid, can rest? Or people that are older than you and probably need to sit, or kids, any of those. Just if you have the opportunity to give up that seat to someone that could use it more than you, just do it. You're fine standing on a 10-minute bus ride or monorail ride or whatever it may be.
Right.
Try and give up that seat. I mean, a lot of times when I see that the bus is going to be full, I already know. I will sometimes, even though I can grab a seat, I'll just walk in and I'll just stand up off to the side. I'll just stand. Or I'll go by that second door and I'll just stand. Yeah. Because I'll be like, you know what? This is going to be full. There's going to be somebody that I'd probably give my seat up to anyway. Yeah.
And I do that too with you when we're further back and we're probably going to stand anyways. Yeah. And
again, nobody's perfect. There's plenty of times I've gotten on a bus at the end of the night after a long day and I've kind of tilted my hat down and not made eye contact because I wasn't going to give up my seat unless there was something glaring.
You're tired.
But
and
so again, that's understandable too. But if you have the opportunity, give up your seat to the folks who need it. Yep. Again, think of people around you. I know you love Haunted Mansion people. Everybody does. I know that you know every word to the ghost host speech in the stretching room. Mm-hmm. You don't need to recite it out loud along with it. Mm-hmm. You can lip sync. You can mouth it. Yeah. I know that it's like a tick. It's something you've got to do.
Right.
I understand it, but just when you are on a ride, probably 100% of the time, there is someone there that has never done it.
Yeah, that's true.
And so think about the first time you would ever go into the stretching room and experience it. Your first time ever. And you have to hear the entire thing from the person standing behind you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So there's no need to recite.
You're gonna be like, can you stop, please?
Yeah.
Can you shut up?
Yep. Kaylin used to love doing it for Dinosaur. She would mouth the whole
because we told
Dr.
her
Seeker.
that it's not.
Yeah, but we had to tell her because she'd say it out loud.
Right.
I've had a nudgy on little ghost hosts sometimes. Again, it's just a reaction.
It is.
Everybody wants to do it.
Yeah,
I get it.
I know. And then I mouth it. So with all this being said today, let's follow the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do to you. Put yourself in other people's situations. Just have the angel and the devil on your shoulders and just listen to the angel
Yeah, listen to
more.
that angel side when it comes to it.
Yeah, I mean it. And then things won't. If we all just get along,
I know.
it would be a wonderful, perfect world. But when you're a little light in a dark world, you shine brighter. So, just keep on keeping on, y'all.
And this goes with everywhere.
Yeah.
You don't know what the other people are going through. You don't know the reason for other people that are there. You don't know how their day's going. Cast member, guest, all of that.
Yep.
Just think about everybody around you. Be aware of your surroundings. Just try not to do things that will impact and affect other people in their trip. Make your trip the best you possibly can, but keep it within there.
Yep.
If making your trip better means reciting out loud the ghost host speech, just think about it. Is that making everybody else's trip better? Probably not. Can you get away without saying it out loud? You probably will. You'll probably make it through. But so don't do those Disney things, even though we are all guilty of them sometimes. Just take a little note. We've got Tiana's Bayou Adventure opening coming soon. We're so excited. Hit subscribe, get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. We will be covering pass holder preview of Tiana's. We have some other fun stuff Father's Day weekend that I'm just going to surprise you with, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I had people then messaging me after I mentioned it last time. What are you doing? So other people know. You don't. Some other things. But
okay.
Yeah, so there's gonna be a lot coming out of that weekend, and then we'll be there for the opening of Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which I'm so excited about. I was talking to our friend Caleb yesterday about being there, and I'm like, it's not the same like it used to be. Like I loved the days of getting up at 3 a.m. and showing up to a park at 4 a.m.
You say that.
And lining up with all these like-minded folks who were so excited to experience it, and and being there when it opens, and actually doing standby and getting on the ride. And a lot of that's been taken away, but there's still something about being there on opening day. So, regardless of if we wake up on the 28th and we secure a virtual queue or the Genie Plus Lightning Lane, which are the two ways to ride it at opening, just being there and the excitement and the thrill is going to be so super cool. If you're very interested in Tiana's Bayou Adventure, Disney has done a full point of view ride through already, which was interesting. I think I think with everything that has surrounded this ride, unfortunately, Disney's trying to get ahead of those that want to spew negativity by giving you maybe not the best looks at it, or you know what I mean? They want the first looks at this to come straight from them. That's the marketing that they want to show the positive side to it. And I have avoided all of it. So for the most part, like, it is hard. I'm scrolling through things like crazy because I just want to go. I want to experience it with our own eyes the first time we see it. But it is out there for those that can't make it down soon and you want to see it. But yeah, hit the subscribe button. Every new episode's Tuesday and Friday. You get all this info. These openings, a July 4th trip to Drury Inn will be a lot of fun. And so much more. And then, of course, Rhonda and I would be super duper thankful if you could please leave us a rating and review.
Because it helps our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.